Well, good morning. Welcome to the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living. Good to see you all this morning. And I'm going to be reading the thought for the week, and you can join me if you're in the room down at the bottom in the bold area. This Sunday, we celebrate Mother's Day. The tradition started in the United States in 1907, and by 1914 was declared a national holiday. On this day, we honor our mothers, grandmothers, and those within our circle of influence that have or are giving us their love as only they can. This Sunday's topic is Love Brings Forth Life. Love is the birthing element that creates, sustains, and renews all relationships. Love can be sweet and supple or brave and bold. All of us, whether male or female, have the mothering instinct in us. There's something about bringing forth new life, new energy, and new awareness that can spring us into broader horizons. What is happening in your world at this moment that is enticing you to reach deeper into your creative juices to birth a new form of life? Realize and recognize that by bringing it forth, you are making a commitment to be there, to nurture, and to allow this new creative element to take on a life of its own. Love brings forth life but doesn't smother it. There is an innate freedom given to one's offspring that revels in stepping back and giving space for them to bloom and blossom in their own unique way. I find it interesting that the founder of Mother's Day celebration, Anna Jarvis, became disenchanted with the commercialism of the holiday and toward the end of her life actually worked at trying to stop the observance. However, as we all know, life is about change. We cannot hold back the evolutionary process, even if it takes twists and turns we would rather not take. Turn within to your higher self, to the God of your being, to be led and guided to giving and expressing your divine creativity, to bring forth new life into this world of effects. Nurture it with all your heart and soul, and then let and allow it to be free to grow and change as it wills. Say with me, I give thanks for mothers everywhere who give and nurture their offspring in their own unique ways. I am also grateful for my own ability to bring forth life in new and creative means. So, happy Mother's Day. Whether you are a mother yourself or you had a mother, which all of us did at one point or another, may you celebrate this day with joy. So the theme this month has been, or is, change gracefully or not. And as I think about mothers, and especially my experience, mothering experience, you have this tiny little baby that comes into your life, and it doesn't have an instruction manual. There's nothing that you can really, I guess back in the day you could read Dr. Spock or whatever. But there wasn't anything in particular for this individual that you have care of. And I can remember thinking at one point, I don't know, maybe when baby was about 4 or 5 months old or something, I've got this nailed. I know exactly what to expect. I know when the nap time's gonna be, I know, and of course you know what happens. It changes. Just when you think you know how you can handle it, no, it's going to change. So life literally is always about changing. And I'm just so thrilled that we are in our book study going through David Hawkins' book, Letting Go, because this process is one that is eternal. We can think about the fact that, I let that go years ago, and I let that go years ago. But like Reverend Marilyn used to tell us, it's like we're like an onion, and we have layers, and we think we've done it once, but then we have to come back around and get deeper into the deeper level to come back and allow whatever it is that's challenging us at the time to let it go. We've been moving through the book chapter by chapter, and now we're actually on chapter 12 and 13, which is the love and the peace chapters. And the way he's written it, it's organized by the lowest levels of emotion up to the higher, and he had a way to calibrate them, to give them a number, so to speak. And I won't go into all of that, but they're calibrated. The lowest one he has is shame, which is at 20. And it moves up from there, which is guilt, and moving up to apathy, up to grief, up to fear, up to desire, up to anger, up to pride, until we finally get to courage, which is calibrated at 200. Then from there is where you can be sprung forth into the more positive levels. The scale moves up to neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, and peace, which calibrates at 600. That's peace. And finally, enlightenment itself ranges from 700 to 1,000. That's the calibration. So Hawkins describes love as we are heartfelt, generous, nurturing, affectionate, steadfast, and forgiving. Love is protective, calibrated? Collaborative, thank you. I knew I wasn't saying it right. Uplifting, holistic, and gracious. It is characterized by warmth, gratitude, appreciation, humility, completion, vision, purity of motive, and sweetness. Love is a way of being. Love is what we become through the pathway of surrender. And one of the main aspects that he talks about when he is referring to love is the fact that it is all about forgiveness. That love, and initially that we are to forgive ourselves, to let go of that, the expectations of that small egoic self. You know, the one that tells us we're not enough, we didn't do it right, you know, on all of those tapes that we have played for ourselves over and over and over through the years. And to let us forgive ourselves, knowing that we were doing the very best we could at the time. One of the things that I noticed before you get to the love and the peace, the one that's right prior to is acceptance. So that we go through our day recognizing that, yes, this emotion is coming up. I acknowledge it. I am aware of it. I am not going to judge it. I'm not going to thwart it. I'm not going to deny it, but I'm going to let it have a life of its own for a moment or two or 5 or however long it takes so that it can dissipate, so that it can go away. But when we are living that way, we are accepting that this is what's happening in life right now for me. And I don't have to make any difference, any change about it whatsoever. There is nothing that needs to be changed. Think about that. There is nothing that needs to be changed. Will change happen? Absolutely. Because nothing will stay the same. But it doesn't have to change in the way that we dictate, that we think, that we believe it should be. Because this life is running, whether we recognize it or not, in a very orderly fashion, in a very spiritual energy level that knows what it is doing. And when we can get on board with that, when we can accept that whatever is happening for in my welcoming prayer that I handed out to many of you, is whatever's coming to me this day is happening for my healing, for my awareness, for my elevation, for my letting go of my smallness and climbing into testing out, playing with my wholeness, with my allness, with the allness of life. So when we accept what is happening, and not fighting it, not thinking it has to be changed, that is when we are at peace. And I believe that all of us, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, that's what we want out of life, is peace. And that elimination of angst, of joy, of sharing the love that we are, of letting that love that we are out, to be demonstrated, to be shared with all of those around us. In this world of acceptance, we live in the now. We are not living in the past. We know the past was then, as I talked about last week, that was then and this is now. And we're not fearful, anticipating any type of angst about the future. We are living in the now, absolutely. The topic this morning is love brings forth life. And as we move ourselves up in these levels of calibration, from apathy, from shame, up the avenue of allowing those feelings to come out, be experienced so they can be released, love will be birthed through us. Love absolutely brings forth life, brings forth more life, more newness, not from yesterday, but from right now today. How many of you are doing well with your daily meditations that we're practicing? Yes, I see good hands going up. It is a huge benefit to do that daily practice. And you can start with 5 minutes. Work your way up to 15. Work your way up to a half an hour. And what it does is it allows us to quiet that monkey mind so that we're available to let that love that is so wanting to guide us, to give us its joy. When we let our monkey mind be quiet, we are then available for this Spirit to give us its gifts. And that gift is love. Love will prod you. Be prepared. Love will enlarge you. Letting go of your smallness. Letting go of the smallness that you see in others because you have it in you. Love will release you from the bondages of the mind. Love will challenge you. I know that each and every one of us are up for the challenges of life. I had an interesting week this past week. I began smelling a foul smell in my car. And I thought, what is that? It smells like something got spilled in the trunk or whatever. And it took me a day or two to investigate it. So now it's been going on for, 4 or 5 days. And I finally opened up the trunk and rummaged through what I could see there. And I found that there was a grocery bag of groceries that hadn't been taken out. So there was a quart of milk that was expanded to the point that it looked like it was going to be exploding. There was a package of top sirloin steaks that had been on sale. Darn it. There was eggs. Took the whole bag and just, deposited in the trash. And so then later, a couple days later, I thought, I think it's about time for my car to get detailed. I'm going to take it down to Speedy's over here across the street to the Shell station, and he does a good job. I'm going to leave it there. So when I got there, I just kind of thought, I'm just going to take a walk down to Barron's, and just wait, while he does the car. And as I was walking to Barron's, I realized that I was on Arnold, and I was literally just passing by our old location on Arnold Way, and there's a business in there now. The place had been vacant for 3 years, and so now there's a business in there. I thought, I wonder who they are. I wonder what that's about. So and it was funny because we had that sliding glass door, and there was a lady that was coming out of the sliding glass door, and I spoke to her. I said, hello, and she was like in a rush. She spoke to me, but that was it. She was gone. So then I opened up the door to what used to be our bookstore, opened up the door, and here's this man sitting at a desk looking at me. Whoa, what are you doing? And I told him who I was and why I was there. Oh, yes. So he owns a civil engineering firm. And so I said, I could kind of like to look around and see what you've done to the place. And he said, oh, sure, come on out. And then his wife, her office is what used to be our meditation room. And so she came out and she said something to the fact that, oh yes, the painter, because they had put in new flooring all over and they had painted the whole place. Otherwise, they hadn't made too many other changes other than putting like cubicles in where the sanctuary was, where we had our big open area. And but the lady was going, yeah, the painter left some of the words on the wall. And so every time we see those, we just know this is a really good vibration, that this church had been here before we moved in. I'm trying to think, what words did he leave on the wall? I don't remember. But I think we had those, I think we did have the words up on that top, like a banner or something, like a runner. I don't know, I didn't get to see them, but they were thrilled that the church was in there before they came, and they just felt the good vibrations. They sent me off with a bottle of cold water so I could make my way to Barron's. And as I was walking further, there was a guy on a bicycle that was coming towards me, and he had a bag in his hand holding onto the handlebar. And I could notice that it was filled with a bouquet of flowers. It was beautiful. And I just, made, oh yeah, that's nice, cool, that guy's got flowers. And so I got to Barron's, did my shopping, and now I'm sitting out there on the table, waiting for Speedy to call me, to come and get me. And here's the guy comes up and takes a backpack off, and he's gonna go in the store, and he says, are you gonna be sitting here? And I said, yeah. And he said, can I leave my backpack here? And he says, I saw you earlier. And I said, you did? He goes, yeah, I was the one that rode the bicycle with the flowers. I said, oh, yes. He goes, yeah, I'm taking those to my daughter, and he's telling me all about his life, where he lives, and all this stuff. It reminded me of one of the girls I used to work with, that when she went to the grocery store, she said, I don't know what it is. Do I have a sign across my head that says, tell me everything? But it was wonderful, because you know me, I am a doer. I calculate, okay, I have time for this, I have time for that, and I have time for this. I can squeeze all these things in. And it was just so lovely to just sit there and have to wait. And just sit there in this beautiful, the weather was, it was Cinco de Mayo, that's what it was. It was beautiful weather. And just have nothing I had to do, no place I had to be, just waiting for life to come to me. And I'm going to remember that. I'm going to hopefully do more of that. To jump off this train of life that I keep chugging down the road swiftly, and just allowing myself to be like the song that we heard Daniel Nahmod sing this morning, like water. Not gonna go uphill anymore, just flow. I don't know where it's gonna take me, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be happy about it too. So I ask all of you to recognize, not just today, but every day, that you do have a mothering instinct in you. We all do. It is that divine, loving guidance that wants the very best for us. And so we are to lean into that. We are to allow ourselves to trust that this divine energy, this mothering instinct in us, wants our highest and best, and that we are to cooperate with it. We're going to let go of the past. We're going to know that things are going to change and that we are up for it. That love is going to prod us. Love is going to challenge us. Love is going to communicate to us what we need to know when we need to know it. And to let go of all that fear and that worry and that angst. And just sit in this beautiful, beautiful garden of love that surrounds us at all times. So birth something new in your existence this day, this week, this year. And know that this loving energy is cheering you on, is giving you what you need to do. And it is such a joy. Love and abundant blessings to all of you. Namaste. Okay, let's go ahead and